these guys have an understanding of Star Trek that's so deep and so, so well versed that they're able to just make fun of themselves as they're continuing to make a new storyline. It's just like it's kind of brilliant, actually, and I really got to give a credit to these guys for continuing to nail it. I don't think I've seen an episode yet where I'm thinking, oh man, this is terrible. This show's about to get canceled. This is not good.
Oh, no, it's not.
When I see this show, I actually say this show can last the longest out of all the Star Trek shows. Like this show can go on for 10 seasons and I wouldn't really notice, that it's been going on that long. It wouldn't be like, oh man, enough of that show. So they've got to hit.
That's the magic of animation. I mean, you can drag it on forever. I mean, look at The Simpsons of over almost 35 years and South Park of over 20 and Family Guy is going on over 20. And as long as the characters that still can do the voices can still do the voices, they don't age. That show's going to be around for a while, hopefully. But the fact that they only do it in like 10 episode increments kind of leaves the novelty to it, but it's also a little, annoying.
Yeah, but it's true. Well, it can go on forever. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, I wish there were more episodes, but I guess they're looking at longevity. And our buddy Rico Anderson sent in a message today just saying, dude, they've got a golden opportunity. They need to figure out a way to include Captain Kirk in one of these episodes and get William Shatner to do the voiceover. Dude is 90 years old. He can still do it. Jump on it. And that's a really good point. That would be cool to get the Captain Kirk to do Captain Kirk. And that's another great thing about animation is that they can bring any character back and, time doesn't matter. It could be 50 years after, the actor could be 50 years older than they were when they portrayed the character. But as long as they can still do the voice, then they're golden. And it would be great. It would be amazing if they went 10 seasons. I wonder if they've got any plans.
So, and that's what they can do. Just throw them in the holodeck. And just like when LaForge had all that going on, trying to fix the ships, the Enterprise. So yeah, you're right. As long as he can do the voice, it doesn't matter. They can put him back in TOS, and you would think that would work just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think that, with guys who are at Shatner status, there's no appeal for him to come and do a one-off guest star on this animated show.
Unless it's big bucks.
Unless it's big bucks, but other than that, if it's not big bucks, I don't see the appeal for it. He's like, I've already done movies, I've already done the show. Doing a guest star on this show to help the show out doesn't do me anything. So it's going to be difficult to get them to come on and participate. Some of these bigger people like Shatner and these other captains. Now you offer him his own show and it's a different story. Then he's, you're talking series regular money and a different contract and a different type of conversation. But as a one-off, I don't think we're going to see anybody like Shatner donating their time to do a one-off for the animated show.
Sounds like you think he's some kind of big-time guy by now or something.
Yeah, he is a big-time guy, but I could see them. I could see them using a clip of something he's already done in one of the original episodes, maybe a speech that he gave or some kind of clips of him, and recycling that clip into the animated show, because that wouldn't require him to do anything. They just have to cut, paste, and edit, and they could use his voice, and that would just make, that's just him signing off and saying you have permission to use that, clip already. So that to me is more likely if they can find something that Kirk said in the past in the movies or anywhere and find a way to sample that for Lower Decks. That's possible.
It'd be really cool. along those lines is they do a lot of references to the animated series on this show, surprisingly so. It would be cool if they had some kind of clip or some kind of image of Kirk as designed in the animated series with the yellow eyes and everything, like the actual, rather than the Lower Decks style of animation, showing him in the animated series style of animation would be funny. Peter, do you ever watch the animated series?
I probably did. I watched it as a kid, and I haven't watched him. I can't say. Oh, geez. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe 40 years, I mean more. I'm not opposed to seeing them again. I'm sure I can find them somewhere on some
Paramount Plus,
streaming
probably.
app. Yeah, well, yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart does Family Guy and American Dad. You'd think that he would pop in, and they animate him really well, and his personality contributes really nicely to the show. So I'm sure you can get. Hopefully, Patrick Stewart will volunteer or at least make himself available.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, I wanted to expand on the idea that you had, Ryan, and I think that might be something we see down the pipeline one of these days. This new animated show getting caught in some vortex, time continuum, whatever, where they get stuck on the old animated show.
Brilliant. That's hilarious.
A mashup.
And it does seem like something they would put on the table as a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, a mashup. Something to like the effects of how they did Trials and Tribulations, and they had DS9 they spliced it together with the original series with the Troubles and Tribbles. So something to that effect where you're blending in the new and the old. I think that could definitely work, whether it's bringing the Kirk back from the original series and having him in the new show, or having the cast of the new Lower Deck show kind of transported onto the original series and finding their way back home type shit from that. I think that would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking right here real quick, and it would be so cool to just see them in this kind of style. Either the Lower Deckers stay in their style and these guys have their style, or they get trapped in that world and their style of animation goes into that world. That'd be really cool.
Yes, one or the other. Exactly. That's pretty much, I believe, is going to happen one of these days. I just don't know how. And
you heard it here first.
Right. Maybe we can get writers' credits on the show. If you're watching, guys.
Yeah.
I know you're watching.
That very Hanna-Barbera kind of meets Rick and Morty kind of looking animation thing.
Yes. Oh, that'd be fun. I'd love that. Well, we have a few minutes left. Do we have any final thoughts on this episode? I think personally, I could keep going on forever about little references and funny little moments, like when they did go into the mirror universe right here, and you see people like walking by, some random people walking by, and or something like that, and one guy's just like, I feel like I want to torture somebody. Oh, I'm feeling really horny. Well, I feel horny when I torture people. I torture people when I get horny. Or something like that. It's like that. It's just so funny. That's a knock on the mirror universe. How it's just two things. They like to torture and they like to hump. Those are their two, and maybe combine them.
Yeah, I heard that banter in the background, and I was like, "That's funny. That's funny."
Any final thoughts, Jack? Peter?
I just liked at the end where they were trying to scare the hell out of the what was that thing called again that changed, that splits into three?
Yeah, the Pandronian.
Yeah, that's it. And how rapid all of this happened. First the crystalline entity, then the wormhole or the black hole, and they're like, no, that's just a standard black hole.
You would have known that. That was just like
right.
Right.
So I like how they wrapped it up. It just went really fast and then got right to a point. So yeah, that whole episode was very entertaining.
Yeah, and the other thing I would notice too is I would say that this may have been one of the first episodes where we actually saw the entire crew working together to solve a problem, right? So everybody was on board at some point. So it was, Boimler, you keep them distracted and you stay in the simulation, while Beckett with Mariner and her mom are both working together now for the first time in a long time that we've seen, trying to outsmart the drill instructor lady. So I felt like there was, even though they had them all separately going into their own little pods and trying to holosuites and trying to recreate whatever their experience was, towards the end it became a teamwork issue, and I thought that was the most teamwork we'd actually had seen out of the lower decks crew. They're like, oh, okay, they're dysfunctional, but they can be functional when they want to be, right? Even when they were in the black hole, I'm like, dude, they're about to tear their ship up and get caught in the black hole. And then she's like, all right, let's get out of it. And they just literally just like swoop up and they're out of the black hole. I'm like, oh, wasn't that easy. Life or death? It was pretty easy.
They got out of it in under 12 parsecs.
Right. So just the fact that they were working together, I like the camaraderie. I like the fact that we finally get to see a little bit of Mariner and her mom kind of working things out and on the same page and on the same team for once. I like the fact that you got the, like I said, the officers kind of empathizing with the lower deck people and saying, oh, you guys kind of have it rough and we need to make some accommodations to help y'all out, give you better replimats and maybe work on these bunk beds or something. So I just feel like the entire crew is merging more, and the chemistry between them all is increasing because they're understanding their roles better, right? In the beginning, we started off with like, we don't know who is playing what role. Is Mariner the captain? Is she the leader? Now we're starting to see, okay, these are the roles that they're all playing and they're settling into them really well. I like that.
There are a couple final things too I wanted to touch on that made me laugh was Miglimo, the bird counselor guy. And when Mariner saw him in the mirror universe, and she just said, oh, what's up, Miglimo? And he was tied up or in chains, shackled kind of the way that Garrick was in the mirror universe in Deep Space Nine when Worf was holding him. And he just screeches. And I don't know why that made me laugh. He didn't say, oh, hello, or whatever he usually does. He just went, ah, And that was funny because it was totally unexpected. And also, when Boimler was plotting to either, get pushed up beyond the captain or to kill the captain to take over, because that's how they do it in the mirror universe. He was saying, oh, and then I could go to a more sinister ship, like he's more excited about just getting to a more sinister ship. It was just a real caricature of the mirror universe, that they did. It was very funny. I enjoyed that. I think that that's smart to just kind of poke fun at it, because every time they do the mirror universe, they take it very, very seriously. And what Lower Decks does is it grabs those things that all the other series took seriously and it laughs at it and says, the mirror universe where they're always humping and torturing and, whatever, and it's fun. I don't know, that it's just a nice way. It's refreshing. It's a refreshing way to look at the things that we've watched so seriously in the past or taken so seriously.